Right, so you want to learn how to drift tune on CarX Street on PC. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm not going to show you what everything means because that gets tedious and that's not really why you're here. I'm just going to show you my bass tune, why I do it, and what I do. Right, so let's start in the engine. We go in the engine. I've just got race on pretty much everything in there. The reason I've got race on is because if you go above race, you start having to spend street coin. You don't really want to do that, so we just put race on everything. If you've got a more powerful car, it might adjust some things in this tune, but I'll tell you about that later. We're going to go into the upgrade section, and all we're going to do is we're going to chuck the rev limiter right up, the turbine pressure right up, the peak RPM right up, and the torque at high all the way up. Then we're going to go into transmission, and we're just going to put an ultimate on every single one. Every single one for the ultimate drive. We want to keep as rear wheel drive. And then if we go into upgrade, on gear shifting speed, we're going to move it all the way to the right hand side. Then we're going to completely miss differential lock-in, lock acceleration, lock coast, and preload because it doesn't give me the option to change that. We're going to put final drive all the way up to the right hand side. The reason why we put final drive all the way up to the right is because we want more acceleration. Top speed we're not really interested in whatsoever because it's a drift car. So push it all the way to the right. It'll give you a lower top speed and a better acceleration. Then with first gear, we're going to move it all the way to the left, one away from the edge. The reason we do that is because we don't want first gear. We're just going to change out of first gear straight away. Non-existent, never going to use it. And then second gear, we're just going to use it one notch to the right hand side, make it 2.05. Third gear, we're going to make it 2 notches to the right hand side, 1.52. Fourth gear, this is the gear we're going to use. We might use third gear, fourth gear, and fifth gear. So the reason why we have 3 gears like that is we have slow speed, medium speed, and then high speed drifting. So third gear is basically going to be my low speed drifting. Fourth gear is going to be what I'm going to use most of the time. And then fifth gear is if I'm going really fast and it's a really long corner, might push it up into fifth gear if I've got enough power. And there we go. So fifth gear is going to be 1.11, fourth gear is going to be 1.32, all the way to the right hand side for both of them. Reverse gear, leave the same. Transmission losses, we're going to notch it to the left. On the right, we've got differential lock-in. We can't do that, so we're just going to leave it where it is. Lock acceleration, push it all the way to the right hand side. Lock coast, 2 notches in. Preload, we're going to go right in the middle. The reason why we lock the acceleration on the differential is because we want both wheels spinning at the same time. They're spinning at the same time. When they lose traction, they'll both lose traction at the same time, push the amount of power to each wheel will be exactly the same, which is what you want for drifting. If you don't lock the differential, what will happen is one wheel will spin faster than the other. So if the left rear loses traction, then it will push all the power to the right-hand wheel that does have traction. You don't want that because we're drifting. We want both of them to spin at all the same time. That's why we lock the differential. Next, we're going to go into the body, and we're going to put car weight reduction on. I've got it on Elite, but you can just put it on Racing if you want. Fuel tank, I've got it on Elite. And then front aero and rear aero, I haven't changed it at all. Just leave it normal because we're in a drift car, not a race car. So you don't really need it. Upgrade, I haven't actually changed anything here. If you really want to, you can change the weight again, take it all the way down. But as you can see, it uses 14 street coin, 35,000 credit. Didn't really want to spend that amount of money, so we're not going to do that. Weight distribution in front, leave it exactly the same in the middle. Center of mass height, leave it exactly where it is. I haven't changed it. Next, we're going to go into the suspension. And then in suspension, we want ultimate on every single thing. I don't have ultimate on everything because I don't have enough street coin to buy ultimate for this one. But everything should be ultimate, apart from front springs and rear springs, which I also don't have enough to buy them. But yeah, everything should be on ultimate in here. That's the aim. We're going to upgrade and we're going to put spring stiffness. I'm not going to tell you what every single thing means in here because we'll be here for ages and you're not here for that. You just want to see what I use. Spring stiffness. You can see 79, we're down there. Stabilizer, moved it all the way to the left-hand side. Camber, we're on -9. You can see where I put it right there. Caster angle, we've moved it to the right-hand side twice. We're on 9.8. Ackerman angle, all the way to the right. If you feel that you are spinning out too much, you can adjust the Ackerman angle to suit your needs. You might have a little bit more if you have ultimate on something, but it gives me 55 and that's what I'm using all the way to the right hand side. Steering angle all the way to the right, 56 +8. Wheel and toe, we're going to push it 1 notch to the right, so that's it all the way to there, plus 0.25. Front dampers, exactly the same, not going to change any of that. Braking system, we're going to move it all the way to the left hand side, and then front brake bias, we're going to move all the way to the right hand side. So we want all the braking on the front, and then we don't want very much on them at all. So you can do left foot braking much more, and it's not going to slow the car down too much if you press it too much. That's why we move the braking force all the way to the left. Rear springs, we're going to do exactly the same. Move it to the left a little bit on 81 -10. Spring stiffness 55 -13. You can see where I put it. Stabilizer all the way to the left. Front suspension arms, we're going to move it to the right a little bit for camber. minus 0.5 plus 6, wheel and toe to the left a little bit, 0, 0.35, rear dampeners, again, we're not going to change any of that. So then in wheels, this is very much up to you. Front spaces and rear spaces, you can do whatever you want. I like having it flush to the wheel arch like that, so it looks really nice. And then front rim and rear rim, this is quite important, okay? So in mine, on my front rims, I'm running 25530 R20s on the Ultimate. The reason I'm doing that is because I want more grip on the front, so I've got wider tyres. 255 is a wide tyre, so you get 255, which is the width of the tyre, the contact patch that touches the ground. 30, which is the size of the sidewall from the side of the, I can't touch it, but yeah, you know what I mean, from the side of the alloy to the bottom of the floor, that's the sidewall. And then 20 is the size of the rim. So 255 is the bit that we're interested in, which is the bit that touches the floor. The part of the tyre that touches the floor is 255. So on the rear, on the fronts, we've got 255 because we want more because they're going to be steering all the time. But on the rear, because I've only got 340 horsepower, I don't want that much tyre touching the ground because I want it to be able to spin up and drift and like spin the wheels easily. So we're using 235s. Now, this is where it changes a little bit. If you've got a more powerful car, then you can put bigger tyres on the rear. So you can go all the way up to 285s if you've got more power. If you still find that your car is drifting too easily and you're not going fast enough and you're just spinning the back wheels all the time and you want more speed, then put bigger tyres on, because that'll give you more contact patch with the ground, which means that there'll be more grip, so your car will go faster. But that only affects it if you've got more power than my car. This is the sweet spot that I've found for that amount of power in a car. And front tyres and rear tyres, at the moment I've got racing and racing on, but when I go and buy tyres, I just use the street stock ones. Yeah, the cheapest ones possible. When we go into the upgrade for it, you can see on the front tyres, I've got less pressure in the front. The reason why we have less pressure in it is because if you put less pressure in the tyre, it makes more of the tyre contact the ground. So on the front, we want more of the tyre contact in the ground because it gives us more grip to be able to steer the car. And on the rear, I've put more pressure in it, so it has less tyre touching the ground, which allows the tyre to spin up more and us to drift easily. So that is pretty much the base tune I will use for any car that I'm using inside CarX Street for drifting. And there is just a few things that I would change if we had a more powerful car. So if we had a more powerful car, I would just adjust the pressure in the rear tyres and I would adjust the size of the rear tyres. It's pretty much all I would change. If I've got more power, I will have a bigger tyre on the rear, giving more contact patch on the ground, so it gives more grip. So when we spin, because we have more power, we get more grip and you're not just sat there spinning the wheels and not really going that fast. Yes, you get more grip, so you go a bit faster because you've got more power. You can spin a bigger tyre. And then you can change the pressure in the rear tyres as well as changing the size to adjust if your car is not drifting well enough, not going fast enough or going too fast and bogging down and not spinning the wheels if you have less power than what I've got. So if you like that, give me a like and a subscribe and check out my other videos.